we are half live because it says half live here. But hello, everybody. I'm Lynn
Hey,
Serrano, and you are.
I'm Brian Kelm. Looks like I got a sunburn again, and I don't know why.
It looks good on you, though. I gotta say.
Oh, I don't have red hair. No, I'm not ginger. And yeah, anyhow, moving on.
Well, at least when you're not on TV or in YouTube, you have some. Nobody knows who you are. Then no, we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Mm-hmm.
I am so glad to be here. How are you, Brian?
Running around, crazy person.
Yeah, well, it's funny because we just announced an hour ago what our topic was, and obviously it's perfect, apropos, because it's all about being in the moment.
Yep.
And that's what we are. We are in this moment, and we always forget that. I think Scott Schilling says it best. We should be where our feet are.
Right.
But we don't do that half the time, do we?
No, I think we have a choice in the matter what our life looks like. Any appointments, anything that we put on our calendar, we have a choice. Like we're partially involved in deciding that. We put out a date to get together or whatever it might be, and it has to be agreed upon by somebody else. But then when you frown upon it or you don't want to do it, like how this morning looked for me, you got to be in the moment. Because kicking doors and saying profane things or whatever, you were at the source of that.
Speaking of the moment, I'm in the moment. I didn't know till 11th hour last night that I would have this little man that I would be babysitting him today. Say hi, Brian.
Hi, Mommy.
Hey,
Are you going to say hi to Mommy who's driving right now? Hi, Mommy.
Hi, Mommy.
Okay. So, yeah, being in the moment, like you said, you have a calendar, you put things out there, you're set to do things, and then something happens.
Mr. Florida himself, Scott Ricard.
Say hi, Rex. Hi, Rex. Thank you for being here. So, but the best mentor I could ask for is Rex Sykes. And he talks about, being in the moment, go with the flow. Life is glorious. You can look at all the twists and turns of what's going on in life. But then you go, he said, hi, little one, to you. And then all of a sudden you get these curveballs. And instead of being upset, well, no, I have a schedule to do with Brian. We're flexible. We do things. I mean, life's too short to worry about the fact that your schedule got a little mixed up or messed up or anything like that. Right. And I know you always got things going on and you always dedicate the time for here, Brian. But again, 15 minutes hard today and you got to go somewheres, but we adjust. We do what we need to do.
Yeah. I mean, I woke up this morning. I don't want to get up and get on a mastermind call. I don't want to be there for an hour. Had a home improvement guy come over. Had a guy fix my windshield for the second time in 3 months. Like to make that call, insurance claim 2 times in 3 months. It's like, the day before or a couple days before, it's like, yeah, let's schedule that. Well, they're only there to do what they're there to do, but it was based on a choice. You agreed upon a time. They're there to serve you, which I think we forget about because it's all on the front end of, we're all in our head about whatever and we don't have any time for ourselves or whatever. Well, if you want to think that way, you can, but these people are there for a reason, right? But in our mind, it's like all they are is in the way, so to speak. And it's not true.
Like Rex always says, what's good and new right now? And sometimes just asking yourself that question can get you out of that wheel spin of this day isn't work. This day is running me instead of me running this day.
Correct.
And so I love the mindful, to stop and say, okay, what's good and new right now? What's good news? We've just got to continuously change our thoughts and fill it with what you want, the wish fulfilled. I mean, it sounds like all cliche, but again, you did it and I did it. We had a lot of things. We didn't even have time to talk about a topic. We're like, I don't know, just post that we're going to do a show, do a TBA when we're ready. This is the real and raw, but yet we show up on our day, we show up on our time, and we figure out what we're going to do. I mean, And so again, if it doesn't get any more real than that.
Well, it's kind of like, I don't know, if you're going out on a date, or if you want to take the next step with somebody, right? You can rehearse to the nth degree what you want to say, which is not going to come out the way that you want to say it anyway. I mean, you can have note cards, you can memorize, but when you're in that moment with that person, whatever's there is what's going to be there. And that's just one example, like I can have a schedule about what I want to do, until I'm there, I don't know what it's going to look like, but I have a choice of like, okay, how am I going to be here?
Yeah.
Because you can't anticipate the disruptions that are going to come along the way. But how you choose, as Mark and Angel Hack Life talk about, their life coaches, is that how you choose to respond in that moment is your choice. You may not have a choice of what's upon you, like the situation, but how you choose to react to it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I got this mastermind call and I got all these things. It's like, well, okay, I committed to that mastermind, year-long process. I committed that I want my windshield fixed and I want this handyman service done. Well, if I take a step away and not make it about me, it's like, okay, these are things I can check off a list. I don't have to sit there and look at it anymore, and it's done.
Yeah. Well, like 11th hour last night before I got in to produce Debbie's show, we got some news, and prayers go out to my daughter's father-in-law that's having surgery and going through some sepsis and stuff like that. My daughter had a planned trip for months and months, and he was going to come and babysit our grandson. Mm-hmm. And he's in the hospital getting ready to have surgery. And he's like, I'll be there tomorrow to watch him. Like really and he's insisting. My daughter did not want to go. She'd rather be at his bedside. Mm-hmm. But when he gets better, he would be upset that she missed what she planned for a long time ago. It's all paid for. And so she's going, God, hopefully she knows that we're forcing her to go have fun. She needs mm-hmm. that in her life.
Right.
And I was like, we can make this happen. I mean, I did the show last night. I got to talk to her more. We changed into, oh no, this is terrible. What can we do? To, okay, how can we make this happen for her? How mm-hmm. can we, and usually I work tomorrow. I have mastermind tonight. I mean, just all these different things. But I'm like, you know what? Solution is she gets to go. We take care of the kids.
Right.
Yeah. And again, you have to switch from what's the problem to how can we make it work? And I'm sure that's what you did, right? What's the problem? How am I going to make all this work when it needs to work?
Well, and it's like your mind instantly goes into, fear. How am I going to do this? And it's just like, well, okay. But then immediately when you do that, the brain is very sophisticated. What it does is that the minute that you're in a fear state, you cut off all creativity.
Yeah, you can't do nothing. You're paralyzed.
You cut off all ability to take any action because you're trying to figure it out. But then how many times in life, and this speaks to our community and audience, how many times in life do you dread something upcoming because you're tired, you're just not with it, whatever it might be. And you filled yourself so full of a story that when you actually completed it, you're like, man, why did I get all bent out of shape about this?
Yeah.
Because your brain is the only the only thing that your brain is meant for, is meant to survive. Right? Yeah. Like just in bare bones. It's meant to fight or flight, survive. Anything extra is something that you need to train for. And you need to do it daily. You need to do it hourly. Because our being as a species is only meant to be around to survive the moment, exist for another day. Well, that's basic living. We all know what that's like. But anybody tuning in on the show and anybody in our community and that we respect and love, we're up to big things. Just existing doesn't work.
Yeah, I totally agree. And again, it just goes to show that we are doing something live and being raw and real about it. But bringing everyday life and being vulnerable and saying, okay, so we weren't polished. We weren't same backgrounds. We're not this way or that way. There's a lot of wasted time in that too.
Right.
I mean, because, we're not getting paid to do this. We're just showing up and doing it. No. So, right. So again, that's the value and respect for our audience. And I really appreciate that within you too, Brian, that you can be just as vulnerable with me.
Yeah.
And here we shoot from the hip.
Well, and it's just like, how do you truly get to know somebody? It's not from being superficial. It comes from being real. Like this right here doesn't exist in my world where I haven't shaved in like 3 days. This does not exist in my world. You
But
know?
today it did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
And
like,
luckily I'm not zooming you in right now.
exactly. No, don't do that.
No, I'm saying just like I got my gray hair, I don't have my hair, I have my hair on, whatever.
There's
But
a whole lot of this that close up doesn't look good. Okay, I'll just
same here. But again, it's a matter of being vulnerable, being present, and being in the moment. Because after these moments are done and we watch this, the funny thing is later we can laugh about it, right?
Hi, Richard.
Hi, Rich. Thanks for being here. So meanwhile, the kids are yelling in the background and stuff. But again, it's a matter of being in the moment and just dealing with what you got. And again, it's not about thinking about yourself, but thinking about others who do he's trying to be funny. My hair.
Your hair is different.
It's different. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, but I'm showed up. So what? It's
exactly.
hair. But again,
in the related,
well,
in the relatedness of human beings, right? It's like how much of the projection of what's put out in life is meant to be perceived a certain way, where everybody's flawless. They're doing what they love. There's no demons in their closet. They're not dealing with anything. That doesn't exist in the world. Everybody has something.
Yeah.
Everybody's dealing with something, good, bad, or other. And I remember what Brian Dodge said. He's a speaker. He goes, if you're not in a crisis, one's about to come, right? You're always in and out of crisis and dealing with things in life. So if you don't have one now, guess what? One's coming.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and the thing is how do you gauge good to bad if you don't have the fluctuation or appreciation? Gratitude comes from saying, oh, I'm glad that minute's over, or I hope that minute comes again. Say goodbye to Brian.
Bye.
He's going to sit over here. Yeah, he was excited about being on TV today too.
And see, that is also a manifestation of our thought is good or bad. What is good or bad?
Right.
Like, because it's like, okay, let's look at from somebody's point of view where they don't have what we have. They're going to be like, it's a good day if my worst day would be good in anybody else's world. You know what I mean? But obviously from a point of view and the lenses that we look at life through, that's where everything begins.
Right.
Everybody's point of reference.
Right.
It's like, and until you connect with that, because we all have one and we're entitled to have it. But I think we immediately want to take how we look at life and assess somebody else as if like, and then, well, what's the problem there? Well, you're not in their steps. You're not living their life.
Well, you know what I love about that, Brian, is for those who judge or for those who think they know, one day soon, they'll be put in that position.
Correct.
And they'll find that compassion when they didn't have that compassion before.
I've had conversations with people about like being a near death, almost dying in a car accident. And or people that have had issues with depression, anxiety, or substance abuse, right? In college, did I like the booze bottle? Sure. Do I do it very much anymore? No. I like to have a good craft beer once in a while, but it's like it's not there anymore. But it's like, it's always the people that have the most disconnect from that world. It's like, why would somebody do that? Oh, I don't know. Have you ever been addicted to something? No. Well, then you really can't speak to it. It's all hearsay. It's all assessments.
Isn't it funny though? We all are addicted to something.
Correct.
Or attracted to something. But the funny thing is how people don't realize it or don't see it as something.
Or
so
they
can compare it to others.
Or they downplay it like, oh no, I don't got a problem with that. I'm not addicted to porn. I'm not addicted to you being on my phone or whatever. Oh, because in their mind they've rationalized it that's okay.
Right.
But in somebody else's world, oh, that person's got that problem. Well, no. Don't judge other people. Everybody else, now is it a muscle that we have to hone? Yes. But it's like how we look through life is our own. And everybody's dealing with something, but I just very much dislike conversations where people are creating drama about others. And it's like, man, have you ever lived in their footsteps? From where they were 10 years to where they are now, have they made improvements? Yes. That's I look at the trajectory in the long cut, right? If somebody's committed to something better, their actions will speak for that over time or not. Because talk will only go so far.
Yeah. And I love that. Especially, it's usually this time of year that I make a pattern that the kids go back to school, and then I make my fitness be the focus.
Yep.
So that, that's kind of just, having kids, now having grandkids and taking care of grandkids, and I got older, I got tired of doing the same shit. But the bottom line is that I look forward to saying, here I am again. I got to exercise. I got to do this, and that. But, I'm going to be more vulnerable about it. I'm going to be more visual about it.
Yeah.
And I don't care what anybody thinks. I know what I need to do, and I'm going to take step by step, because you can't do anything without taking steps.
Correct. Well,
So
it's very easy to be the person that says nothing and just assesses everybody else versus the person that dives right in. And, obviously maybe not at the first time you meet somebody, but there's no skeletons, and it's like, take me as I am or not. Right.
amen.
And that conversational relatedness, like, hey, I've witnessed what you've witnessed. And then you begin that relationship or that connection to somebody. But to the people that don't open up and are not being real, like, hey, we don't have a topic, so let's just get on and see what happens. Well, it scared the death out of some people. But to us, it's like, I don't got to memorize anything. I don't have to remember it. It'll just come out in conversation.
I love it. You're right. And that's just like Marilyn Monroe said, you either take me at my worst or you can't have me at my best.
Yep.
And so, again, that's what I love about what we're creating and what we're doing. And, and he wants to come back for his finale. So in closing, what would you like to say, Brian?
I would just say is that you're always on stage. I know that Viola Spolin talked about that. You're always on stage, right? And several other improv and acting professionals have talked about that. There's always an opportunity to move the needle. There's always an opportunity to transform your life. There's always an opportunity to make a difference for others. And more times than not, it's going to come by you just being you, the raw, transparent, non-shaving, hairs wherever it might be type of person. For believability, but also though consistency, right? If a person always, has their hair all over the place, that might give you a different perception than if it's once in a while. Well, we're human beings. We're not robots. So how do you show up consistently in your life and in that for others? Because the consistency will tell you something that words cannot speak to.
And what I love about everything you said, everything about it, but people just got to understand, look, if you go to 9-to-5 job, right? Things still happen. And then you got to take time off to deal with those things.
Correct.
Because shit happens, things happen. And if anything, 2020 didn't show us is that to be compassionate, to know things happen. I mean, there's a lot of blessings in what happened, because it made a lot of people not realize what it is to be home with your kids 24/7.
Right.
Or people that had to teach, their kids and took the teachers for granted. I mean, there's just so many different things. You should be happy a restaurant's open. So what? You got to wait another extra hour. Well, don't go there, or appreciate that they're open to give you that option. I mean, if you don't have any compassion for being in the moment, I don't know. I guess there's no hope for people.
Well, and it's like, when I've witnessed a lot of death in my life, right? Just had a couple close family members or close family friends that were friends with my dad for many years. They passed away. Our uncle that I beloved, died in December. And the thing with it is that psychologically, we never know how long we have. But what I find interesting, though, is that if somebody's intentions were about that person, they would make it a priority to go see that person, regardless if they had anything wrong with them.
Yeah, isn't that something? It's sad to say this person on a deathbed, but I never text them like 10 years, not to even say hi.
Right. Or when we're have a family gathering. We're all guilty
of that, though. We're all guilty of that. You know 100%. What I mean? Because we get to know so many people and you don't have the time. But when you think about them, reach out to them or make a comment. Just don't like their post. Say something. Hey, thinking about you. Or hi, how are you?
Or elevate it to a video so they get to see you. It's private, right? Yes. It's there are so many different ways that we could do that. We could send a card. We can make a personal visit. We can,
You know what?
Hey,
let's make that our show next week. How are the ways you reach out to people?
Excellent.
And just talk. And yeah, that's reaching out. Reaching out is what we're going to work on next week. How about that, Brian?
That sounds great. I would even say like connecting, because
Absolutely.
the reaching out is the mechanics.
Yep.
Why are we doing it as the outcome?
Don't give any more of what we're going to talk about next week. Just tease them, but connecting. And I'm going to connect with you next week, Brian, because you gave us an extra 5 minutes of your time. So everybody,
maybe we should just have more random topics.
We should have more random topics in a bowl or something.
Yes.
So Brian, thank you for being there. Wait for a minute. Love
Sure.
you guys. Thank you so much for you stopping. And thank you, Baker Man, for showing up
Thanks,
and being
everyone.
our pop-up guest.
See you next week.
See you next week.